And for anyone who's not yet a member of that group, it's a free emotional health group, and you can find it at school, spelt SKOOL.com/emotional health. And we'd love to have you there. All right. So today, the first question I have is an anonymous question I received by email. And this person says, I tend to wake up with a rush of negative emotions due to being woken up negatively consistently as a child. How can I wake up and start my day immediately subsiding these emotions? Another question I have is, I tend to walk into work in the mornings with extreme anxiety and worry about what others think of me, and just random anxiousness around people. And I believe that it is from how my mornings were negative as a child with a negative and judgmental father. How can I start my day before going into work and stop this during my work day while interacting with people? It is affecting my interactions with people. So first of all, thank you very much for sending in this question, and well done for reaching out for help with this. I'm so glad you did. And that connection between how you were woken up in the mornings as a child and your automatic neurochemical state that's creating those negative feelings when you wake up now as an adult makes perfect sense, of course. So I'm going to give you two main steps to address and change the negative emotions when waking up in the morning first. And then I'll add to that a couple of extra things for changing your experiences at work. So the first step, the reason this first step works is because a reminder that thoughts are connections between neurons in the neocortex of the brain, and those connections trigger matching chemicals. Negative thoughts trigger stress chemicals like adrenaline and cortisol that create negative feelings, and positive thoughts trigger feel-good chemicals like endorphins, serotonin, and oxytocin that create positive feelings. At the moment, as you're waking up in the morning, your brain is already automatically triggering the production of stress chemicals because of that conditioning from your childhood. And then as you become aware of those feelings, as you feel the effects of those stress chemicals in the form of negative emotions, your conscious mind is automatically finding reasons for them. And those connections between neurons, those thoughts, are triggering more stress chemicals, and so it perpetuates. So in addition to changing the childhood memories, which we'll get to in step 2, you'll also need to gain control over those neural connections, which result in control of the chemicals that are being produced. And then, of course, that will gain control over how you feel. So here are the actions for this first step. When you're at home at some point today or this evening, plan for when you go to bed tonight. Number 1. Choose an object or a photo that feels good when you look at it. So it could be a photo of a favorite place or a person or a pet or something that you're looking forward to, or it could be an object that's beautiful, something you love the color of, whatever feels good. And then put that object or that photograph next to your bed where you'll see it as soon as you wake up in the morning. Number 2. Cue up a favorite song or piece of music that you can listen to first thing in the morning. And then number 3, tonight, as you go to bed, do the little brain chemistry exercise, and I'll put the link to that in the description for those who don't have it, and set the intention that no matter how you're feeling when you wake up in the morning, you will look at whatever object or photograph is next to your bed, and as you do that, you will intentionally allow yourself to feel good. You'll do that, and then you'll do the little brain chemistry exercise again, and then you'll listen to the song or the music that you queued up for yourself while you're doing whatever your regular morning routine is. And remind yourself that all of this is not magic, and it's not mind over matter or intangible in any way. What you are literally physically doing when you're choosing your focus like this, so you're You're choosing to look at something that makes you feel good, and you're allowing yourself to feel good as you look at it. You're practicing the brain chemistry exercise, which of course takes under 2 minutes, and you're listening to music or a song that you enjoy. What you are literally doing is you are intentionally choosing the neural connections your brain is making in those moments, and therefore what chemicals are being triggered in that moment. And of course, that will affect how you feel. So when you then wake up tomorrow morning, so you set all of that intention tonight before you go to bed. And then when you wake up tomorrow morning, as you feel that rush of negative emotions that you have been feeling each morning, recognize and remind yourself that what you're feeling in that moment is just the sensations of stress chemicals that have been automatically triggered while you were asleep or as you were waking up, like someone left the stress chemical tap running during the night. And now you're going to switch off that tap and switch on feel-good chemicals tap by choosing to allow yourself to enjoy looking at the object or photo next to your bed and doing the little brain chemistry exercise, and then listening to the music or the song that you love. Then think of one thing you're looking forward to, no matter how small it is, even if it's just a cup of coffee or watching your favorite TV show when you get home that night, and allow yourself to look forward to it. Allow yourself to focus on what it is about that thing that you'll enjoy or be grateful for. Again, this is not about distracting yourself or being positive. This is literally about brain chemistry. As you think of the thing you're looking forward to, as I say, even if it's just a cup of coffee, and the things about it that you'll enjoy, those are connections between neurons in the neocortex of your brain in real time. And as you continue to make those neural connections, your brain will start to trigger the production of feel-good chemicals instead of the stress chemicals that cause the negative emotions. Now, it's very important to also remember that stress chemicals like adrenaline and cortisol are stronger than feel-good chemicals. And that's because stress chemicals create fight, freeze, flight, emergency, survival state. Because it's more important for our survival that we focus on the wild animal that's threatening to attack us than on the pretty flowers, of course. So this means that it can take a while before you're able to feel the effects of the feel-good chemicals, even while you're focusing on something you enjoy or that you're looking forward to. We need to keep that stress chemical tap switched off. In other words, keep our focus off the negative, and the feel-good chemical tap switched on. In other words, focusing on the things that we love, enjoy, or are looking forward to for long enough to be able to feel the effects of that. Again, because the stress chemicals are stronger than the feel-good chemicals, we need more of the feel-good chemicals to override the effects of the stress chemicals, which means keeping our focus on the positive for longer. It actually takes just 60 to 90 seconds to switch from stress chemicals to feel-good chemicals, as long as we're keeping our focus off the negative and on the positive for just that minute and a half. So do those actions every night and every morning to recondition your brain and body neurochemically. Then the second step will be changing those childhood memories that are triggering that chemical state in the first place, of course. So I'll put a link in the description of this video for finding and changing negative childhood memories. But what you're aiming for is that you were always woken up gently with kindness and fun, and both of your parents were relaxed and happy and loving every morning. So every morning was relaxed and fun, and it was enjoyable to get up. All right. So you were looking forward to the day, all of that. So you can put music in. So that's what you want to end up with. Make sure that you are not in a negative state when you start changing memories. So get yourself into a feel-good state first, and then do the detective work to find and change those memories. You can also use the bookmark memories, and I'll put a link to those in the description of this video as well. So now, regarding going to work, those 2 steps that I just gave you in answer to waking up in the morning will also help, of course, with going into work. And I want to give you an additional couple of suggestions with reference specifically to going into work. One of the things to be aware of is while you're on your way to work, in other words, between leaving home and walking into work, where is your focus during that period of time? Are you listening to something? Are you thinking about something? whatever it is, choose to listen to an uplifting podcast or an audiobook that feels uplifting or music that you love while you're on your way to work. Remember that wherever we're putting our focus in each moment is determining what chemicals are being produced, which in turn determines how we're feeling. The second tool I want to offer you is the Superpower book. I'll put a link to it in the description of this video, but I know you're also in the school emotional health group, and you'll find a free download of the Superpower book in the classroom tab of that group. And for anyone who's not yet a member of that group, it's a free emotional health group, and you can find it at school, spelt skool.com/emotional health. And we'd love to have you there. So read that little book. It's not very long. Practice the techniques in it. Keep referring to it and reread sections so that you can absorb. And because the information in that book can take a while to get used to or to really fully grasp, because a lot of it is a complete contradiction to what we've always been, what we've always thought. So doing that will also help with your chemical state and with your experiences at work. So I hope that's helpful. And you can watch the recording of this session as many times as you need, of course, to remind you of the steps and the information, because there's a lot of, I know that I gave you a lot of information in here. And also keep reaching out for help in the emotional health group and in these sessions as you go.
Hi.
Hey, lovely to see you. How are you today?
I'm good. Yeah, it's been a while. I got a bit lost in at home and life. So I wanted to ask about, basically I've been feeling this really intense clawing feeling of loneliness, and I can't seem to locate where it's coming from. So this happened because, it was triggered by coming back to Liverpool on Friday. And because when I was here, what I last remember is being with in this relationship that I was, and now that's not the case. And then everything this year is really, really independent. So you go to hospital by yourself, you do everything by yourself all day, then you come back and then you do your lectures by yourself, and there's very minimal physical contact with people. And then it could be practical, but it's also I just feel it in me. Yeah.
Okay. And so what's wrong with doing all these things by yourself? What's the downside of being on your own?
I just feel I'm missing out. That's yeah.
Okay, very good. And so missing out in what way? What are you missing out on?
Okay, so two things. I feel when I do things by myself, I miss out on certain tips or ways of doing it that could be easier. So I found that from last year. So that's in hospital, doing certain things. If you do it with someone else, it's easier.
Very good.
And then I feel I'm just missing out on life, I'm missing connection. And I was thinking, I think I just overthought it, because in a few years I can't imagine this to be my life. I can't imagine coming home from work from a 12-hour shift and coming home alone. That terrifies me.
Okay. All right. So this is a really good topic here, loneliness and being alone and that kind of thing, because I know there was some sort of post on Facebook. It's a saying of, you come home, you're alone, you sit in a chair with a cup of tea and the house is quiet and you're all by yourself. To one person, that will feel lonely. To another person, it'll feel like freedom. And I have to say, I'm one of those people who loves being alone. To me, being alone and not having anybody around me feels really relaxing and lovely. I love it. But that's because of my references. It's not about, loneliness is not a thing on its own. It's like most things, or most experiences, it's caused by the references we have.
Yeah.
So the first thing that comes to my mind, knowing a little bit about your childhood, is the fact that you were alone when you were very little and had to get yourself ready for school and all of that, right?
Yeah, that's what I located it to. But I don't know what's missing, but it's just very emotional.
Yes. Yeah. So as you think about, how old were you then? I can't remember.
Oh, my parents left me when I was 3.
Right.
But then my mind goes to the fact that I was always with people, my auntie and grandma were always there.
Yes. Now, what I'm referring to is when you got to England.
Okay, then I was, definitely alone.
That's right. That's the piece that's in my mind. That seems to be a connection there. That seems to make sense.
Yeah.
So what was it like on those mornings when you were in England? You weren't with your parents, right? Your parents were there, but they weren't there. You were with friends?
Yeah. So this move I worked on a little bit as well. Yeah, because I came with my parents' friends. And that's the scene that kept coming up again and again. So I put stepping stones in, and I put my parents there. They were there to collect me. And then they were the ones who I was actually on a bus trip with all my friends in the back. Like, that's what it was instead of a big move.
Good. So what's still left?
I don't know. I feel like crying when I think about that.
Oh, okay. Very good, sweetheart. That means there's definitely still something there, of course. As you think of that time, you feel like crying. And what is there visually or knowing why anything else there apart from the feeling of wanting to cry? And if not, that's okay.
It's just that like buzz is missing from, that when people are excited and talking to each other about something, there's like a buzz. That's missing from my life, but it's there in everyone else's.
Okay, very good. So let's have your life here just represented in some way. And then over here next to it is everybody else's life with the buzz in it. Now, if that buzz, that whatever that is, that essence, that buzz, had a visual, what would it look like? What color would it be, or shape would it be? What texture would it have?
I would see it as like almost like fireworks. They have fireworks. My fireworks lit up. They're in the sky, but they're not lit up.
Oh, very good. All right. Good job, sweetheart. Okay. I want you to see these two images then, however you have them represented. There's your life and there's everybody else's life. And your life has the fireworks, but they're not lit up. And this one has all the fireworks lit up. You got that?
Yeah.
Now I want you to move them so that everybody else's life with the fireworks all lit up, I want you to put that in front of yours. So yours is behind. Yours without fireworks lit up is behind everybody else's. You got that?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. And now, so all you're looking at is everybody else's with the fireworks lit up.
Yeah.
You got that?
Yeah.
Very good. And now I want you to bring yours without the fireworks lit up through everybody else's with the fireworks lit up. And as you do that, your life takes on whatever that quality is. It picks it up as it comes through. Can you imagine that?
Yeah.
Good. Very good. And how does that feel now as you look at however that's represented for you with the fireworks lit up? How does that feel?
Yeah, I feel the buzz. Yes.
Good. Okay. So that's a start.
Yeah.
Very good. Good job. All right. So now I want you to have a closer look at however that's represented for you and see if you can see the little you in that representation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like a really nice visual of me just surrounded by fireworks.
Yay! That's fantastic. All right. Very good. And so now let's take that representation, that version of that little you, and put her in the scene with the bus, with the parents, with the friends and all of that. And how does that feel now?
Yeah, I feel weirdly taken care of. It's like good. Like, so I was missing this like reciprocating feeling because I always kind of lead social things. But I feel like no one else volunteers to. So that's in there now.
Good job, Swasti. And then, of course, you want to practice that. You make sure that you really establish those neural networks so that it's very strong and the feelings are strong. And now let's think about what's the next thing you're going to do in your life now that you're going to be alone. Are you going to a lecture? Are you going to the hospital? What are you going to do next that you'll be alone?
Okay, so I started university this week, Monday. So we have different rotations. I'll just give you background just so I can quickly explain it, otherwise it wouldn't make sense. So we have different rotations. So I'm in the GP first, and basically I have no lectures to do this week, only really optional ones. So I did the optional ones and now I have nothing to do. And that's probably a reference too, because I have nothing to do. And then, but also things that I've signed up for, like societies that interest me, haven't really started yet, because uni starts early for us compared to everyone else. And then when I go to hospital, I have one partner and I don't know who this is next week for 3 weeks, and I don't know who this person is. Like, I have no idea who he is. So I'll be traveling alone in the morning. Then I'll meet this person. I have no idea who he is. I don't even know if I'm gonna like how we're gonna, because we have to get stuff signed off together, like do bloods and stuff of patients. I'm just scared that I'm not gonna like him, so we're not gonna get anything done together. So if I don't like him, I will go my own way and get my stuff done because I have to.
That's right.
And then I'll come home at like 6 p.m. and do it all again. So I will literally have no interaction apart from ill people all day.
All right. And are you living on your own?
Well, I am currently because no one's in my corridor yet. Again, because people haven't moved in.
Yet. Okay. And when do they come in?
Next Monday.
Okay. So notice how the brain homes in on I'm alone forever.
Yeah, that's what I'm focusing on.
Right? Even though people are going to be arriving next Monday, right? And this is such a great example. So thank you for this. Such a great example of how, of course, consciously, the rest of the year is not going to be all by yourself, but your brain is trying to predict the future based on the present. Yeah. So right now I'm all by myself, and that means I'm going to be by myself forever. And so in the first instance, we need to answer that in the moment. Remind yourself, it's only for another few days. And think of Monday, Tuesday, think of next week, and choose to make the most of what you have now. Choose to find ways that you can appreciate the benefits that you have now while you're alone that you won't have when people are there. Yeah. So it's quiet, you've got peace and quiet, you can do what you like, you can, whatever's there. So perhaps if you want to, I don't know if there's a television, you get to choose the channels or you get to choose what you eat. Deliberately look for things that you have now that you won't have when everybody's there and appreciate them, make the most of them. Knowing that when everybody's there, you can look back and go, I'm so glad I had that time. Yes. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, but I also feel like I choose things which make me alone,
Okay. Okay. And so, for example?
Like today I had something, so we were like practicing clinical skills, like taking bloods just in the practice thing. And I was with a friend and then I left, but I don't know why I left. Like, I could have stayed.
Okay. All right. Let's look at that. That sounds very interesting. Okay. So what happened just before you made the decision to leave? What were you thinking or feeling, or what was the experience, if you can remember?
It's because I can only take people in doses. Very 1 hour is more than enough. And then after that, I need a social break. And then I can be back mentally there. But then it happens in bursts.
Interesting. So getting towards the end of that hour that you feel you can, and how did you know, okay, now it's enough?
I just felt exhausted. I was like, I'm done now. It's not about the people. It's not like they're exhausting people. It's just I was done.
That's definitely a reference from childhood. Because that's not actually like a biological thing. That's not something like, as humans, we can only, we run out of steam after an hour with people. That's not, there's definitely a reference there. Unless, of course, we're ill or something like that, of course. So let's look at, what's your earliest memory of feeling exhausted with people?
So I've always had one friend, always, at one moment in time. So this is the first ever friend in school. And she basically, she brought a toy into school and she gave it to me. And she said I lost it, but I don't remember losing it. But then it was like a whole scene at home because she was like, please, can you pay for this toy that we lost? And my grandma was not happy.
Okay.
It was just madness. It was exhausting.
There you go. All right. Very good. And how was that resolved at the time?
So it was like drama, and then they gave me the money and they were like, you can give this back to her. But I think the day I gave her the money, the next day, she forgot about the incident. So then I was like, oh, what's wrong with you? You're like, you caused all this drama and now what?
Okay. And what's that feeling? How does that feel?
That's just how my mum acts. She says something and forgets about it 2 minutes later. But it causes an thing in between.
Okay. And what does it mean when someone does that?
Just being a hypocrite. It was just
hypocrite.
There's no need.
Very good. Good job, sweetheart. All right. So let's go. So we definitely want to change that. We want to put some stepping stones in there. For those who are new, you'll find links to what stepping stones are and all of that in the description of this video. So let's go to that memory. First of all, let's change the bit with the drama with your grandmother. Okay. So see if you can reimagine that to where whatever happened up until that point actually happened. But at the point where your grandmother was asked for the money, she said, oh, yeah, okay, it's not much. It's fine. Yes, of course. So it was not a problem. Can you imagine that?
Yeah. Yeah. Because I didn't even realize that was the issue. Like they were not rich people, or they didn't believe they were rich at the time. So money was always an issue. Like it was like, we don't have enough.
That's right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So how does that feel now when she's like, oh, and it's like, it's really not much?
Yeah, that's fine. That's good. Yeah.
Good. Very, very good. Relaxing. Very good. Okay. So that's the first stepping stone. Second stepping stone is that the friend says, oh, don't worry about it. I've got another one. Okay. How would that feel?
Yeah, that's good too.
Good. Very good. All right. And then I want another stepping stone here of where you find it. So she says, oh, where's the toy? And you go, oh, here it is.
Okay.
And how would that feel?
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just trying to imagine it. Yes.
You got that?
Yeah.
Very good. So that's it. And then the final memory is that the toy never went missing, of course. The toy was there all along. And in fact, you have an even nicer toy that you've got two of, and you give your friend one and you have one.
Okay.
And that is the final memory. And when you go home to your grandmother, it's to show her these toys. Okay. And she's like, oh, that's amazing. That's wonderful. She's excited.
Oh, it can be like a bestie, like thing that you have together.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it. And so then the feeling around there with your grandmother at home in that environment and everything, it's now excitement instead of drama.
Okay.
So you've still got that heightened emotional state, but it's a positive one.
It's excitement, yes. Okay.
Sound good?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Very good. So you got those stepping stones and then that final memory. All right. So now let's go to where you are at the moment. There's nobody in your corridor right now at university. And how does that feel right now?
I mean, now it feels good. Now, good. Because the thing is, I've always liked being alone as well, like you were saying before. Yeah. But then recently I haven't. So it's just a passing thing.
That's it. So that's that. The other thing I want to check is, as you think back to earlier when you were with the friend and you were doing the bloods, practicing whatever you were doing, think back to that moment, up to that point where you decided to leave. What would have happened if you decided to stay?
Well, I have a structure to my day. I need to get certain things done, and I'm not spontaneous about it. So she was like, oh, do you want to get food? And then we can go to the library. And I said, no, but this is not how my day is planned. My day is not planned like that. Like I need to do work, then I can get food. So, and then she was like, oh, that doesn't work for me. So I was like, okay, well, I'm going to go home. And then you can come back or whatever. But it's like when people throw in spontaneous things, like, no, it's not going to work for me. And then, but by this point, people are busy, like when I'm free.
And so what would have happened if you had gone along with the spontaneous? If you had gone along, get something to eat, go to the library with her, what do you think would have happened?
I don't think I would have gotten work done. That's what's in my mind. I need to focus in my own zone for 2 hours, not with someone else there.
And that's an interesting contrast there, right?
Yeah.
Because the thing of being alone, don't want to be alone, but I need to be alone in order to be able to concentrate and focus, right? So it's a fascinating thing that your brain is doing, that contradiction. And the reason for it is not because it's based on any logic whatsoever. It's just a vehicle, a way of recreating that feeling of, I don't want to be alone, but I have to be alone. And this is just one way of doing that.
Yeah, it's like very tug and war in my mind.
That's right. Now, another thing that is possibility, a connection between when you were at home with your parents, it was not good, right?
No.
There was a lot of turmoil and it felt dangerous. There's all of that.
Yeah.
So what it means to be with people compared to being alone. So you either have to be alone and suffer, or you have to be with people and suffer. You're between a rock and a hard place kind of thing.
Yes. Yeah, that makes sense.
And that's being recreated now.
Yeah.
Makes sense?
Mm-hmm.
Very good. So in order to address that, we want to create new memories of you being obviously with your parents. And obviously, it's wonderful. It's fun. You're playing games together. Also, they are just in the background, relaxing. So they're chatting, perhaps they're playing a game, they're listening to music, whatever they're doing. And you are with friends or you're on your own, doesn't matter, but you're playing so that you've got this relaxed feeling with people there. Okay. Create that, practice it, establish it. And then once you've done that, also create memories of you as a child enjoying time alone because you've chosen time.
Okay.
All right. So there's friends and that, and you go, you know what, I'm just going to go and read or whatever you want to do. And they say, okay, see you later. And then you've got that lovely feeling of relaxed freedom, whatever will add all those good feelings in there.
Okay.
So create both of those and practice them until they're established with all the good feelings. You got that?
Yeah.
Very good. And now let's go back to your friend, the spontaneous thing. What's wrong with being spontaneous?
Nothing, but it's a frenzy in my mind. I have a list. I need to get it done. And then lists stress me out too. So I'm like, yeah.
You've got your list and there were certain things that you needed to get done today. They had to be done today. And you still have to do them, or they're already done now?
Oh, no, I'm done now. Now I have the evening free.
Interesting. And so what if you had gone with your friend to get something to eat and go to the library, and then when she's busy or everyone else is busy, then you come back and you get your list done instead?
I see nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. What would have been wrong with it is that you wouldn't have got to feel I'm all alone.
Yeah.
Right. Because you would have had that time. And then now you would be busy anyway.
Yeah.
So your brain deliberately set it up so that to keep you in alignment with that, so that now all of the work is done and the friends are busy and now you have nothing. You're all by yourself.
Yeah.
Isn't that fascinating? So if you could, let's say you could rewind time and you could go back in time to that moment before you, leading up to when you made that decision to leave, what would it have felt like? In your mind, think, oh yes, so I'll do the to-do list when I get home. I'll make the most of this opportunity now. So there's plenty of time to do that when I get back and everybody else is busy.
No, it didn't even occur to me that they might be busy later.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's because your brain deliberately filtered that out.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you wouldn't be in alignment with loneliness. Very good, Swasti. So what's the next thing now where you're going to either be with someone or without someone? You're going to make a decision of some kind.
Well, I did message the friend who I left because she lives in this building. So she was doing like meetings or something, I don't know. And then I asked her like, I'm free after 6. So my choice is either to stay with her or go to the gym by myself. So those are my new choices. Right. Yeah.
That's okay. And how would each of those feel? So let's say you decide to stay with her. How would that feel?
I think the interesting thing here is that I always have an alternative option. I don't know, it's almost like a safety net. It's like, if this doesn't happen, this will happen.
Yeah. So, and that's okay. It's okay to have that.
So that's why I planned before. So I'll see if she's free, then the gym can wait. Like,
then that's your first choice.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. And then what if she's not free and you go to the gym on your own? How will that feel?
That's good. Yeah.
Good. Very good. So how do you feel knowing that you have those two options and that either of them is good with you?
I mean, now it feels good, but before this session, I was like, no, I don't want to do it by myself. I could cry.
Exactly.
Yeah.
There you go. Exactly. And so the feeling like you're going to cry, is that gone now?
That has gone now. Yeah.
Good job, sweetheart. Good job, Swasti. And that's because we addressed the childhood stuff that was there, that was causing that.
Yes. Okay.
Very good. So how do you feel now about the whole thing of doing things on your own, going to the hospital? Let's say, okay, you're going to the hospital next week with that partner who you don't know yet. How do you feel about that?
That's so interesting now because there's a lunch break in between and I will know other people. Like I will sit and have lunch.
Right.
Or if I don't, I can talk to new people. Yeah.
Isn't that fantastic that your brain would not let you see that before?
No, I would probably go sit by myself somewhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So how do you feel now?
It feels great. It really does.
Good. Yay. Good job, Swasti. I'm so proud of you and I'm excited for you.
Thank you.
You're very welcome, sweetheart, and enjoy every moment.
Thank you.
All right. Very good. Thank you for the question because I know it'll help others as well. All right, everyone. So I think that's it for this week. And check the description of this video for details if you would like me to work with you like I just did with Swasti, or if you have any questions that you'd like me to answer in these sessions as I did in the beginning of this one. All right. Lots of love to all of you. Bye-bye.